are here because the outside world rejects you.
Hey, what's up everyone? Alright, so this video is going to be a little bit different. We're just kind of going to talk about San Diego Comic-Con Special Edition. I just got back and that was an awesome trip to take. There was a lot of Turtle fans this time around. I feel like the Turtle stuff had the biggest lines, at least from what I could tell. Turtle Mania definitely showed up and the energy was just awesome. I'll show a little bit of our panel that we did with writer of the 1990 TMNT movie, Bobby Herbeck, here at the end of the video. I know a lot of you guys have been asking to upload some of that video, so I'm going to go ahead and put that here at the end. But before we dive into that, let's take a look at some of the other Turtle stuff that was going on while I was there. You see, our panel was on Sunday, so I got a chance to walk around and just kind of check some stuff out on Saturday. I had never been there, so being my first time, I just kind of walked the grounds, kind of checking everything out, and I saw this big line starting to form, and it was Kevin Eastman's line for his signings and stuff. So I ran back to my hotel room, grabbed my stuff, came back down, and luckily I got in the line right before they capped it. So that kind of just worked out good. And then as we were standing in line, you could see that they were starting to show up to their booth, and you could see that Ciro Nieli, creator of the 2012 TMNT show, was also there with Kevin Eastman. And that was a big surprise because I didn't know he was going to be there. So anyways, yeah, I got to meet them, got a photo with them. That was super awesome. Great experience. I got my last Ronin #1 signed by Eastman. I got this awesome artwork here of the 2012 Turtles signed by Ciro Nieli. And I also got that Boss Logic Last Ronin poster signed by Eastman as well. It was cool seeing the reaction to that poster. I don't think they had seen it before. Everyone at the booth was kind of like looking at it and stuff. It was cool. Anyways, like I mentioned, I was one of the last people in line and they had to head over to their panel right after. So I went ahead and went, after meeting them, to the room where they were having this, and the panel was great. Eastman was up there with Ben Bishop and Tom Waltz, with David Avallone as well, who I believe does the Drawing Blood comics. So we did get some teases for The Last Ronin, kind of like the future of that universe. It didn't look like they could say much, but I believe it was Waltz who said something to the effect of, start getting used to the phrase, the Ronin verse. It was something like that. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something like that, and the audience cheered. They also said at the end of the panel that 2022 is going to be a big year for the Turtles, which was an awesome note to end on. It got everybody pumped up at the end. I don't know what they're working on over there, but I have a feeling something big is coming. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, after the panel was over, I bumped into Ben Bishop and got to meet him as well, which was super cool. Really nice guy. I introduced myself. I was like, hey, it's me, the Turtle Den. And he was like, oh yeah, I recognize your voice. And dude, that made my day, dude. That was so dope of him to say that. It blew my mind. I'll never forget it. But yeah, that was pretty much it for Saturday though. The only person I didn't get to meet that I really wanted to was Tom Waltz, but I just didn't have any time after that. I had to go prepare for our panel, which was on Sunday, which we'll go ahead and talk about. First, I met up with Bobby Herbeck, who is the writer of the TMNT 1990 movie. It was just awesome to get to sit down and talk to him and get to know him, because I mean, we've talked before, like when we did the Comic-Con at home for 2020 when the whole virus thing was going on, but it's different in person. I had on my 1990 Turtles jacket and right away he was like, dude, where'd you get that jacket? Which was the best feeling. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier, Turtle Mania showed up this weekend. The audience, the energy, everything was awesome. But yeah, I'll go ahead and just start playing now some cool highlights from the panel. Hopefully the audio is not too bad, but that was it. That was my trip to Comic-Con. I'll go ahead and roll the tape.
I wrote the movie. I went to England. We hired a director from London, and I got to write the movie in England.
That's what I wanted to ask you. How was that?
It was great because Jim Henson was set up there, the creature shop, and he did, Jim Henson and Brian, his son Brian, they created all those costumes, and I don't know if you realize how cutting edge it was. This is before CGI. It was so cutting edge what they did. To this day, it was cutting edge. And if the actors were here, if they haven't heard the story, it's a miracle they lived through the shoot. Because they shot it in Wilmington, North Carolina, in the summer, no heat in the stages. There was an airport, planes flying over every 5 minutes, they'd have to stop. The Hensons came up with an air conditioning system in their costumes so they didn't die from the heat. Wow. What do you got?
I just was issuing the director's commentary to this 1990 movie, and so it's hard to find. It's only on the German Blu-ray.
Really?
Yeah. And Steve mentioned you and him going to a cricket game, and that's where the cricket line with Casey Jones and Raphael came from. I just want to ask you, is there any truth
I
to
think somebody was smoking pot. I was going to an Indian restaurant with him and having dinner with a gentleman who nobody knew then named Richard Branson. Came to dinner with us and the world didn't know this man yet. And he was just that great smile and that great energy. And he was in the music business, some of you may know. He was selling CDs out of the back of his car. Virgin Records, Virgin Music, I think it was. And the rest is history. But if I may, so the week before the movie opened, I was with Tom Gray, the boss, in Beverly Hills going to lunch. I'm in the car, and he said, Herbs, I'm so nervous. I think we have another Howard the Duck on our hands. I said, Howard the Duck? Howard the Duck just dropped from the sky. He didn't have an audience. And I said, no. And he said, what do you think we're going to open at? And this was now 30 years ago. I said, I think we'll do 20 million. He said, if we do $20 million opening weekend, go to Herbeck and buy you anything you want. And I didn't ask for a mansion or a yacht. This little two-seater Mercedes pulled up, and I said, I want one of those in black. And he said, you got it. Okay. We did 24 million first weekend, 23, 24 million. New York, New York, I was there 3 hours in. He's in New York. He said, Herbs, I'm driving around. There's lines a block long waiting to get in. I said, I get goosebumps. And I told the story. And I said, I told you, Tom. And I went all over LA. I went westward, down everywhere. I dipped into theaters and stood in the back listening to you, all the fans. And it makes you cry. You go, wow, all that work. My favorite scene, when I went to the movie to see it, with the audience the first time, and we just had our 30th anniversary. I'm going to cry again. And they had some special screenings last fall, but nobody knew about it. You guys had played 900 theaters. Nobody knew it was in the theater but nobody was going in because of COVID. Did you? Yeah. I took my wife and my 4 grandchildren. My grandson 14, twins 8, granddaughter 5, who never sits more than 5 minutes, to see this movie. Their dad and their uncle was at the premiere at Universal 30 years ago with MC Hammer. They got to hang with MC. And I get goosebumps. I'm sitting there and I'm talking. There was a small audience that did a little Q&A before we showed it last November. I started crying because I said, it's my grandchildren. 30 years later, they're here looking at this movie. And it's still a good movie. My grandkids, when I was over, said, Papa, that's the best movie I've ever seen. Blew me away. It's because I'm getting old, that's why I'm like Thomas Swords for crying out, Arnold Palmer, all the time. Anyway, but to see my grandchildren, who weren't even on the landscape 30 years ago, sitting there, and I watched them to see if they, kids are only good for about 10 or 15 minutes. They stuck to it. Little girl had to go pee, but she usually does. And she came back and she, that's the best movie I ever saw in my life, that movie right there. And they still watch it. But my favorite scene with them, and I don't know about you, when at the first night at the premiere at Universal, was when Steve Barron was so great the way he shot the first opening and the credits and stuff. Because you started with April, the news side of it. And the audience, the kids are at the edge, scooting up the edge of their seat, they're like, where are the turtles? And as you recall, where's the first time you saw a turtle in that movie? It was Raphael living up the manhole cover and going, damn. And then he drops it down, and you go, oh, and the gasp in the theater was, oh. And that's the first time they saw a turtle, just his mask. You remember that? Yeah. And then the next shot was the silhouette of them coming down on their skateboards in the sub, underneath in the, down below. And the thing was, still, Steve was teasing you. You still were like getting out of your seat. And when they finally came into the scene, huge explosion from the audience. And I just sat there with tears going, wow, that is powerful, That's awesome. In fact, when we did the reunion, I got Domino's Pizza to be part of our reunion thing, to help sponsor that reunion show.
Yes, a question that's kind of been on my mind that I think a lot of fans is, what do you think it would take to get the Turtles to look like that again in a movie?
Yeah!
I'm not a really very good at the social thing. I am with people, but I'm with Facebook. But our fans are on Instagram, which is cool. And my phone blew up this week when he put it out that we were going to be here and going to be doing this. And I went, wow, we do have people out there. But on a daily basis, I'll bet I get 10, 15. Please do a reboot of the first movie. So keep that coming, because we're taking that to Nickelodeon and going, we have fans out there that would like to see a reboot of this. I'd like to go back to how they look, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I think with what they can do today, except that CGI kind of goes a little too far, huh? No?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, we've seen this.
It's nice to see the light shining off of the suits. Like, they're really there with us.
Yeah.
Well, you want to do some Q&A too as well.
Yeah, we're going to do a Q&A, is that cool?
Okay, so this is the last one here. Is just like, how was the different treatments? Was there any like scenes that didn't make the final cut that you wanted?
No, you know what? I wanted them to drive a car. I wanted a car scene, really kind of just going across the country. The scene that touched the moms and dads, I had this one lady, rugby player in Long Beach, Stu, big guy, 6'6", an animal, this man. And I was a celebrity in the Long Beach Grand Prix in the celebrity race, which meant you drove a Toyota 60 miles an hour. But we do fast enough on the freeway, so that was nothing. Simply going in a circle. And Stu comes up, and he'd just seen the movie. He has sunglasses on. He said, hey, I just took my boy to see the movie. I said, what's the matter? He said, nothing. I just want to tell you, the scene out there when they're out in the country and around the fire, and Splinter appears, and he's telling what they mean to him and should mean to each other. You know, that which was an important scene when we wrote it. It was a message here. And he said that how he loved them. And Stu said, my son grabbed my hand, looked up and says, I love you, Pop. Do you love me? And Stu starts crying. Oh, man, I said, it's okay, you big moke. Don't worry about it. No, man, oh, shit, I got to go, man. He was absolutely, he hated that he was crying. But I thought, how cool is that to push that button? Because that's what you want these things to do, is to push buttons, make you laugh. So I can't thank you enough. I speak for Kim. I'm sorry we couldn't get him on here. I would want to do a FaceTime thing, but if you have a couple of questions.
All right.
So
I'm when I first saw the movie, huge fan. I was astounded by what they did, especially with the costumes. So I got a double question actually. The first time you see the faces, the reactions on the costumes of the turtles,
right.
What was your reaction to them? Because
they were great. Because, let me just tell you, cut you off. This was all being done. Each turtle, I think Kim said, had 6 guys on each turtle, working the hands, the face, the eyes. There was all these guys, and I could be wrong, but I think it was like 6 guys per turtle that you didn't see in the shot that were moved, working this. The breathing, the eyes, the mouths moving was all like just cutting edge. It had never been done before. It was really, I hope we get our documentary done so you can see, because it's incredible what they pulled off. I have to wrap it up, but I want to thank all of you so much.